This is where. 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 This is where we all get down. Down.
Been playing around recently with a little utility that I don't know where I got it from. I think I either purchased it or it came with an upgrade of Reason. This Euclid Rhuthm Generator. Kind of interesting to play around with it and see what you can do inside Reason. So I just thought I'd give a quick 5-minute just to kind of get you going with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop an instrument on here. We'll take a red drum, and normally you could start programming the beat here and whatever other percussive elements you wanted here. But what's interesting, if you take one of these Euclid Rhythm Generators, drop it on beneath the device you're interested in working with. If you hit tab and flip the rack, you'll notice nothing's wired in at this point. So if I play anything, nothing's going to happen. You can see it cycling through there, the pattern, but nothing's happening. So what I can do is I can take the gate out on this thing and pop it to the gate in, let's say to the kick to start with. Now if I play this now, you can hear it starting to fire. So there's some built-in patterns here that you get with this that they give you. Of course you can reset it, you can create your own. So I'm not too worried about messing around with the actual pattern or whatever, but there's a bunch of stuff at the bottom you can do in terms of shuffle, steps, step length, things like that. Control click will reset it back in case you want to change some of these dials back to the default settings. You can enable and disable this thing here, and you'll see why that's useful in terms of automation in a while. So if I play this again, it plays just like it did before. So the interesting thing with this is you'll notice the gate out is going to the gate in on strip 1 here on the redrum. One thing you can do inside of here, of course, is you can use the splitter. So if you've got the Spider CV merger and splitter, you can take this thing, so hold down shift so no wiring takes place. What you can do is you can take the gate out, put it into split A, and then what I can do is take the first split of that and put it into gate in there, and maybe on another particular channel here I can control something else. So let's look what the second item is. So we've got 2 kicks there, let's move it along. So we're controlling 2 of the channels here by 1 rhythm generator. Of course what you can do here is you can add another one of these Euclid Rhythm Generators and take the gate out, and you can pipe it into gate in on one of the other channels. Maybe pick a different pattern here. So let's take Samba 2. Again, like I say, you can mess around with the shuffle just to drop back and forward. You can see it moving inside the pattern. Control click will put that back to where it was in case you've made a mistake. So where have we got that going to? That's going to number 8. Number 8 is a hi-hat. Let's pop it onto 7 for the snare for a second. So the other cool thing you can do with this, again, you can just grab one of these patches and drop it in. Nothing will be wired in by default. But what you can do is you can take this and you can take the gate, put it into density, say, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to push the density up to 100%, push the width to 100%. Now I can draw on here. So what we're going to do is just leave a couple of these drawn in near the end. So you can see I'm controlling the density of the snare separate to the kicks. So the kicks are firing as before, but the snare is actually almost doing the rolling effect there. So in terms of laying this down into the sequencer now, how can I control this? Okay, so what I can do is I can use automation. So you remember at the beginning I talked about this enable button here. Of course I can right click and do edit automation. It'll create me a lane for this down here, and then in the outputs what I can do is I can turn this thing on and off. So I might want the kick to start with, maybe not come in and then start. So kick in here up, So that's pretty cool, but you can use it also on other instruments as well. So let's say we wanted a subtractor in there. We can do the same sort of things again in utilities. We can grab the generator here. Let's choose a different pattern. Let's go with bossa nova just to start with. But again, I can take the gate out, put it to the gate in on here. Now, so you can lay down as many of these as you like. You can control all sorts of other things from it as well. Let's mess around a little here. Let's take a matrix. Again, we're not wired anything in. Let's take the curve CV, pop it into the CV here. Just draw a curve in. I wanted to just solo this lead for a second. Choose a different patch here. So you can see very quickly you can get going with this and start making some interesting sounds. The other neat thing about this, of course, you can select all these and combine them into a combinator if you wanted to create a patch that you can recall with this kind of stuff. But sometimes it's just nice to mess around in Reason, so don't create a track, just play around with all the routing, the cables, see what sounds you can come up with, see what will control what. There's thousands and thousands of combinations, stuff you can do with this. It's so cool. So just an intro really into getting playing with this Euclid Rhythm Generator. As I say, it's been in my utilities for a long time. Must have played with it at some point and kind of bypassed it, but I think it's really cool. There's some neat stuff that you can do with it. Just quickly, you can save your own patches there if you do create one that you find super interesting. So if you like these videos, please subscribe, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.
Yeah.